So let's talk about the 40 book challenge that I did. You can grab the link for these printables in the description below. I also have it linked in my bio in my storefront. You'll see some things where you can connect with me. So here's what I did for the 40 book challenge to kind of break it down a little bit more. So I printed these out on, we have a poster maker at school. And so we printed them out. Actually, my daughter printed them out. She was my aide last year. She's finishing up college. She has 1 year left. And there's a program that they can be an aide and student teach at the same time. There wasn't that when I was growing up. Like, we did it for free. She's actually getting paid to do it. So actually she did it, so I need to give her credit. She put them through the poster maker, and we cut them out, and we taped them together, and they were huge, and I put them outside the hallway. And the reason I put them outside the hallway, one, is because I wanted the other students that might be a little more reluctant about reading to see that it's okay, it's cool to read. There were boys reading, girls reading, and it was okay to see that it's okay to read. So what would happen is our kids at my school, and I teach 8th grade, by the way, in Texas, and so this will be my 25th year, and I have a love-hate relationship with AR. We can get into, you know, all of that, and I totally agree on lots of parts about AR. We've had it for a long time. But the way that I do AR is I don't do it by points. I just do it by the number of books. So each term, which could be 9 weeks or 10 weeks, just depending on. So my 9-week terms, the kids had to read 4 books. And so they could pick any book they wanted. It had to be a chapter book. It couldn't be a picture book. It had to be a 4.0 or higher. I did drop down for the I Survive series because they're 3.8, 3.9. And so they could read that. They could read one nonfiction book, but then they chose whatever genre they wanted to read because I just need them reading. And so they would read 4 books each term. So they were required to read so many each term anyway. And so when they read it and they passed their AR test, and they would come write their name on the spine of the book. And it filled up like quickly. I had about 63 kids is what I had in my grade level in my classes. And so that's what they would do. And so we would get all the way, and I had it all the way printed to 40. Let me find my 41. And by the way, you can pick these up down low in the description. It had all the way to 40. And so when they got to 40, then my principal is very gracious, and she wants the kids to read. She knows the value of reading. The kids aren't going to grow. They're just absolutely not going to grow if they're not reading. It's like anything else, basketball, volleyball, track, whatever. You have to practice. Football, you have to practice at it, and they have to practice at reading. And by the time they get to 8th grade, they don't want to read any books anymore. And, you know, they got their phones. And so she sees the value in that, in words read and minutes spent reading. So she allowed us to take a field trip to Meow Wolf. So I hunted down the best deals, and Meow Wolf was like $10 or $12 per kid, which is pretty cheap for what a great field trip it was in Grapevine. And so we went to Meow Wolf, and so they got to see the progress as the year went on to get to their 40 book challenge. So this was a visual thing. I put it outside. I didn't hide it anywhere. Everybody saw it outside. But everybody was getting to write their name on because they at least had to read 4 books. So even if they weren't competing in the 40 book challenge, I still had them go write their name outside because I wanted them to see you really only needed to read about 8 to 10 books outside, because we also read books in the class that would count for this 40 books. So they really only had to read 8 to 10 on their own, and they got to see as the year went on, because they're like, I'm not doing it. But then I had those who I'm not doing it, you know, at the end only be like 3 or 4 books shy, you know, and they had like a month or 3 weeks to read 3 or 4 books. And they're like, well, I can do that. I'm like, yeah, you get to go spend a day with me, and we get to go down the dryer, and you get to see your teacher like hold the handle and slide down the dryer. If you've never seen me, I will, if y'all need to check it out. It was a lot of fun, and the kids had a blast at it, and they wanted to go, and I hyped it up all year long. Like, yeah, you want to go see the teacher? We're going to go down. I'm going to go down the slide. Yeah, I'm going down that slide. I'm going to crawl through this and that and go through the refrigerators. Like, I'm going to go, you know, so who wants to go spend the day with me and just have fun? And I hyped it up, and all the kids wanted to go, and that did encourage others that want to go. So we had that. I also had a bookmark, and it was a 40 book challenge. It's linked in my storefront. If you go to my Amazon storefront, it is linked there, and I used it, and it was really durable. But if you're not wanting to spend the money for the bookmarks, I totally get it. You know, teachers are on a budget. You know, we ball on a budget. I get that. I did make this up, and I put this in. It's linked together. And it is the 40 book challenge. It's a log, and either you can keep them in a binder and they can fill it out as they go along, or they can keep it. It's dual-sided. So it's just the date, the title of the book, and then the review. And so that could be something that they could also keep track of. And so this comes together as a little bundle if that's something that you want. And so it is linked down in the description. It's also in the link in my bio. If you go to my link tree, I have all of the stuff there for you. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel because I'm really trying hard to get you ready for fall. I'm just a teacher, but I know that when I started, there wasn't a lot of information on building thinking classrooms, and it just wasn't a lot. And so if you subscribe to my channel, I'm trying to give daily tips on how to get that ready. Plus, I'm putting some printable resources in there for you for the tasks, because it's math is what's there. And that book is also linked in my storefront. And so it is math, but it does give you like the basics, the foundation of what building thinking classrooms is. But I'm going to try to be giving you some tasks that you can do if building thinking classrooms is something that you're looking at. So make sure you subscribe. Any comments, questions, throw them down there.